Hi friends, it's Chris, and on this video, we're going to draw day 6 of Inktober, and I don't know where this is going, but I'll shift you guys to voiceover mode and we'll talk about this piece. Hey, so day 6, the prompt is pierce. Usually people go straight to things like arrows, piercings, or weapons, but I wanted to take a much more personal and metaphorical approach to the word. For pierce, I drew this large sewing needle threading its way through several small strands, connecting a few small square Polaroid snapshots of memories. The needle is the literal element for piercing, but piercing through time and space, stitching together moments of colorful thread, represents emotional energy and narrative flow of life. And the Polaroids are specific fragmented memories, a moment of connection, a shared experience, a quiet scene. I used a mix of strong black ink for the needle, and I later on in the thumbnail had a frame around it. I didn't film it this time around because it blotted like that black line that you see there. It's actually a bleed through from the previous drawing, and I incorporated it as a black frame um after filming this video. It's on the thumbnail if you guys want to see, or I'll just insert the finalized drawing afterwards. Um, so, aside from that, I used a touch of the India inks from the Faber-Castell pit pens and some colored pens as well. My core concept here is that memory itself is an act of piercing time. Think about it. Time flows linearly, but memory is the needle that can pierce that flow. We don't just recall the past, we select specific changes based on our emotions to how we interpret the past. The needle is the central figure because it implies intention. You don't just passively remember, you're actively using the needle to perform the labor of memory. This can be restorative, like mending a piece of cloth, or it can be painful, like piercing an emotional scar. The individual snapshots are seen here to represent that every second of our lives are not accounted for, but rather we just remember fragments. These fragments are little Polaroid, isolated, messy, and just like spilled coffee we discussed yesterday, murky. The needle and thread are tools we use to try and make sense of these fragments. The act of stitching them together is how we construct our own narrative and identity. Every single one of those colorful threads is an emotional connection that gives meaning to the isolated pictures. When we experience a moment of grief, self doubt, or joy, the needle comes out and pierces the past, seeking a reference point. Where have I felt this before? What memory can help me mend the new break? The whole process is constant, ongoing effort to stitch together the fragments of self into a coherent, meaningful pattern of a mosaic, if you will. Let's talk about the sharpness of a needle that can pierce. Memory, while essential, can also pierce us emotionally. A vivid memory of a mistake, a lost loved one, or a moment of betrayal can feel sharp, immediate, and painful. These are the moments when memory isn't mending, it's hurting. The act of recall pierces the calm surface of the present. However, the needle is necessary. You cannot sew without a sharp point. You cannot integrate painful experiences without letting them pierce you first. True healing requires that sharp, intentional look back to understand what thread needs to be reinforced and what knot needs to be tied off. It's a painful lesson. Tools can build, often require the ability to pierce. My drawing for Pierce turned a single object into a tool for understanding consciousness. It's about how we intentionally select and connect the colorful threads of our past to define who we are right now. I encourage you to look at the Polaroids of your life. What are the key moments that the needle of your memory keeps pulling forward? What threads are you using to stitch your story together? Let me know in the comments and what you did for your day too. A quick drawing session, and I think this is a concept that I can improve on further, or maybe like come up with a better drawing. But I want to take the time remaining for this day just to rest. But I'm happy with the idea and the concept of this one. It's less of the violent version of what you'd usually associate with the word pierced. At least it's not violent, or it's like it's a bit more whimsical, and I'm glad that it's a bit more colorful. So yeah, this is my entry for day 6 of Inktober. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, week, month, year, and of course I wish you all the love, and as always, peace. Take care.